Hi, I'm Taylor, a QA at Atono. Welcome to our web education series. In this video, we'll be discussing how you can introduce a more structured approach to team management using the backlog owner role. With this role, you can designate specific team members who can manage how you prioritize, create, and delete stories in your backlog. Let's dive in. By default, newly created teams do not have backlog management enabled. So if I check my MIDI team, I can see that we do not have this enabled for this specific team. As a quick review of how users can interact with the backlog in this case, let's consider this backlog, where I'm currently logged in as a team member. Any team member can create stories in their team's backlog, created from the left-hand nav here, or from step headers. Any user can reorder stories in the to-do section or between workflow steps, and any user can move stories or bugs into the won't do category. All team members also have the ability to delete stories at will. This is a more flexible and decentralized approach to managing your backlog. Let's now enable backlog management to see how permissions shift. A team administrator, workspace administrator, or workspace owner can open the team settings to toggle backlog management here. In this case, I'm logged in as a workspace administrator. Here, I can toggle backlog management on. Here, I'm already defined as a backlog owner, and we can define up to 10 backlog owners per team. When backlog management is enabled, backlog owners retain all the abilities that we outlined earlier, but are now solely responsible for organizing stories in the to-do workflow step. This ensures that stories are properly prioritized. Team members no longer have the ability to reorder stories in to-do, reinforcing the backlog owner's role in defining the team's work priorities, which directly impacts estimated done dates. So back over to my team member, I no longer have the ability to drag stories and reorder them in the to-do workflow step, and I'm told why. However, team members can still move stories between workflow steps, such as transitioning work from to-do to design, or, for example, from test to review. Additionally, team members cannot move stories in or out of the won't do workflow step. Only backlog owners and administrators can decide which stories can be moved in and out. Backlog owners now also have the unique ability to create and delete stories. Stories are created as normal from the left-hand nav or any of the workflow step headers here. Team members cannot create stories on a team managed by a backlog owner. You'll see that if they attempt to do so, the team backlog will default to the story refinement backlog, and they're not able to set the team backlog that's being managed by a backlog owner. We've discussed how stories are managed on a backlog managed team, but note that team members retain full control over bug creation, prioritization, and deletion. Team members can create new bugs on the MIDI team backlog, even though it's managed by a backlog owner, and they're able to reprioritize in the to-do step, as well as delete bugs. On a final note, we've discussed how backlog owners can organize their backlogs, but product managers and administrators also have the authority to act as backlog owners when necessary. Any permissions extended to backlog owners also apply to product managers and admins. As a product manager, I can now go into my backlog, and I have all the same permissions afforded to a backlog owner. I can reprioritize stories in to-do, for example, and I can move stories in and out of the won't do workflow step. In this video, we've covered how the backlog manager role allows teams to enforce strict control when needed, while allowing other teams more flexibility and openness in their approach to story management. Thanks for watching.